Well, good morning and welcome back to another beautiful day here in Jersey. This morning we had a ton of rain. It actually woke me up around 6:30, which is different because it's been absolutely stunning the last couple of days. It looks like it's gone, so fingers crossed we can have a little bit of sunshine so I can flick some metals. We've got a really small tide today, like seriously small, 25 foot. Now this particular area is a dolmen. There's like a hut over there as well. And this is a place where me and my dad used to come and fish when I was younger. And I caught my first ever fish here, so it's got some sentimental value. And I'm hoping no one's gonna be here. Time will tell once we get through these bushes. But it's a beautiful little cove, beautiful little area, as you can see. Little magic spot. So I'm going to make my way down this path. It's a little bit sketchy, but fingers crossed we can get down to that little point. Hopefully we can catch some fish. I've got an assortment of soft plastics, metals. I've got an hour to fish, so fingers crossed we can get into something. But until then, I'm going to shimmy down this cliff and we're going to go fishing. Definitely a little bit more sketchy than what I remember. My old man used to just throw me down this cliff. My knees are a little bit more dead at my age right now. My hay fever's going to kick off in a minute, 100%. Anyone who's a hay fever sufferer, you know me. Oh, there we go. End up sliding down here on my bum. Gonna hold on to these ferns. And fingers crossed we can get down here without falling down. Seagulls aren't happy with me being here. Oh, there we go. Well, good morning and welcome back. And as I was just saying, we are at a little spot which has a little bit of value to me. When my old man introduced me to fishing many years ago, this is a little place that he used to bring me. He used to set me up with a little float with some ragworm on it, and I just pot it around the edges because there's some drop-offs just for wrasse. Now, the first fish I actually caught though was a red mullet. My first ever sea fish was a red mullet. Fishing a paternoster rig with some ragworm on it with a little squid strip just to tip it off, cast it out into this bay. So I like to come down here, and it's a little place where I like to come and fish for mackerel. Now today, as I was saying, is a 25-foot tide, very small, really nothing to it, no movement. That's around 7.5 metre. Usually we get 10 metres. When I'm fishing for bass, I'm fishing 10 metre tide plus. So it kind of shows you there's not much water movement. But in this particular area, we're on a point, and the tide just pushes past. Now when fishing for mackerel, as you've probably seen in other videos, just using a normal spinning outfit, and I'm just using a metal. I've actually got a Savage Gear Seeker on right now, 35 gram, might be a little bit too heavy, we'll see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck it out and just try some different methods, whether it's just a straight retrieve when it's deep, or just a pump and wind, or a sideways swoosh, swoosh reel, like people do with feathers. I've got a lovely little point here. The wind is coming around the corner, so I should be all right. Hence why I'm using a bit of a heavier metal. Heavy metal! Just want a few mackerel for a feed the family, because this could be one of my last sessions for a while, and it could be one of the last videos I put up on the channel for a small period. I'll tell you why. We've got some exciting times coming. Let's go fishing. First cast of the day. So you can see the bow of my line, that's because the wind's pulling it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the side, and what that's going to do is pull my metal through the water and then let it shimmy back down. Bring in the line, push it through the water, and when I'm reeling back, that's it, just shimmying it back down. Now I'm not promising anything here, but I feel like we're going to get a fish. Right below me there's a ton of sand eel. So much sand eel below me. It's all packed up against this rock. A good sign, because that means there's lots of bait in the area. So if a big, oh, I've got a fish. First chuck. There we go. And I've got a mackerel. Look at that, a first chuck. As I was just saying, there's a lot of bait below me. We've got our first fish, and it's a big one as well. Well, there we go. That didn't take long. First cast. Beautiful mackerel. I was just saying there's a lot of bait below me, so there must be some fish below. So if this fish will just chill out. There we go. First mackerel. Taking on that metal. Shouldn't take long to pick up a few. But it's a really good sign that there's a lot of sand eel below me, lots of it. And usually when there's sand eel about, especially in the summer, there's going to be a big shoulder mackerel about. A beautiful fish. I just love these things. Just reminds you of summer. So sporty, so fun. You can go really light on the rod. LRF, I used to like fishing like a 2 to 10 gram rod to get the ultimate action. Maybe if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh, he's just using a spinning rod, get the ultimate action. 1,000 size reel, 10-pound braid. But yeah, there we go. First one. There you go. Now, as I was saying, there's thousands of sand eels below me. You can see them all. I might try and get a little bit of underwater footage when that tide comes up a little bit. Just a little flick out. And if you can see in front of me, you can see the run. I don't know how good you can see it. There's a bird out there. And where he is, there's a run that runs from that point all the way across to that bay. And usually where there's a bit of run, the mackerel will be around. Well, let's go back into what we were doing before. Oh, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Here comes the... Absolutely great fun, this. Now, if you've got kids and you're watching this, especially if you can find somewhere nice and safe, this is just a magical thing to do in the summer. Set of feathers does it, but I prefer a metal because you just never know what's going to take a metal. You can get a bass, you can get a snipe, you get a pollock, obviously you can get some mackerel. All good fun and games. You might even get the occasional bream. You can see my metal just coming in, just fluttering away. It's a beautiful little area, this. If you look in the background, you've got a little harbour, picturesque harbour called Roselle. So if you are watching this from somewhere else but Jersey, that's a beautiful little harbour over there. They've got a really nice little cafe there called the Hungry Man, which I will be after this, but I won't be going there. They do some massive burgers. Really nice stuff. Recommend them. Me and my old man, we used to go there after we'd been fishing here, get a bite and then go home. You don't have to even whack it far. As you can see, I just gave that a little flick. Depending on how heavy your metal is, obviously it will go further. Give that a little flick and it just went out there into the run. I'm just letting it drop. Now the thing is with mackerel, they can be at the surface or they could be down deep. So it's always good to let your metal either drop on one cast, reel it slower, or zip it along the surface just underneath, and then find them, because you'll find them. Every cast will be different. Yep, there you go. Just got I was just straight retrieving that, and I just got my second mackerel of the day. Little mini tuners. Right, let's get you in, girl. This one's a small one. Well, there you go, second one. Another beautiful little mackerel, taking on that metal. So much fun. This one absolutely clobbered the metal. Took the whole thing in its gob. Now, if you do get the hook straight down in its gob, I like to just push against the bend of the hook, give it a little shake, and then there you go. If you push him that way, it just comes out nice and quick. Gonna put him out of his misery. How beautiful are these though? The colours on them are just crazy. There are so many sand eel in this area. It's beautiful to see. All pin, all about this big. Fish on, and again. Oh, there we go. Feels a little bit bigger, this one. Oh, he's fighting hard. Oh, I love this game. Oh, I love this sport. It's such good fun. Now, like I was just saying before, I am using a Savage Gear Seeker 35 gram. This one's got like a greeny silver tinge to it. Beautiful. Gives a nice little representation of a bait fish, sand eel, something like that. When the fishing's on though, you can catch them on any kind of metal. I've got this one, which is a 20 gram, same kind of color, greeny silver shimmer. And then I have another Seeker here, which is a darker greeny shimmer. You can get them in all sorts of colors. Cheap, expensive. I know the Savage Gears are a little bit pricey, but they do the job. Irresistible at times, especially for bass in the surf. These, cheap. I buy these online. They're about £2 a slug. Absolutely perfect. Sometimes you've just got to watch the hooks. They can be a little bit cheap. As you can see, this was a treble, but now it's just a double. Broke off, get rusty. So make sure you're changing your hooks, making sure your hardware is ready for a good day's fishing. But yeah, as I say, metals can come in all shapes and sizes, pricey, not pricey. Just, you know, pick and choose on what you want. I'm using a heavier one because there's a crosswind, as I say, and I want it to stay down. If I was using something a little bit lighter with a crosswind, more than likely what will happen is the metal, when I'm reeling, will come to the surface and it won't be good fun at all. So if you find that your lure is too heavy and it's sinking to the bottom, just go a little bit lighter. If it's just an absolutely stunning day, it's flat, calm, it's beautiful, you can go for a little 20 gram, 15 gram slug and have so much fun, because this is what this fishing's about for me. Obviously getting a feed, but having some fun, rod bending action. Yeah, what more can you want on a beautiful overcast summer's day? Let's get a couple more for a feed. Don't need too many, no overkill. And then what I'll do is I'll have a little, oh, there you go, there's another one. And that lure was just on the drop. Oh, he's off. That lure was just on the drop before I went to pump it again. Right, I just want a couple more for a feed. It's been a fun little session. I've literally been here half an hour. I've caught 3 nice mackerel. Some people like to just clean up. I just like to get a few for a feed, a few for my parents, have a little bit of fun. If we can get another couple more, well then, there we go, there's one straight away. And that lure was literally just dropping down to the bottom. 1 out of 2. And like I was just saying, you can see the thumping on my rod tip. That indicates it's a mackerel. Don't need to pump and wind. Just reel straight, let the fish do the work, especially with a metal. Just bring it in ever so slowly. And the best bit about it is when you can see the fish coming through the water, the shining shimmer. Beautiful coastline here. Green, lush trees and beauty. Our north coast is absolutely stunning. and just get out and just come for a walk. There's loads of paths in and around the north coast, cliff paths and that. Some beautiful houses situated up on the top there as well. Can't have it all, but it's lovely to look at. In the background, you've got Teddy Bear Rock. The shape of the rock kind of looks like a teddy bear. Maybe not from this angle, you can't really make it out right there on the point, but when you're up close to it, it looks like a teddy bear with his arms out. And actually, in that corner of the bay, there are two, I think they're egrets, I'm not too sure. They're white birds that look like storks. And what they're doing is they're just standing on the bubbleweed in the shallows, just waiting for any fish to come in. And what they do is they just peck him out. Two of them over there. Beautiful birds. Come on, one more fish. If we can get one more mackerel, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a soft plastic out, like so. See if we can get ourselves a wrasse as well. That will really take me back the years when I used to catch wrasse here with my dad, albeit I wasn't a lure fisherman then. Stinky bait, bit of ragworm under a float, fish it quite deep. Just had a bite again. Yep. Oh, this might not be a mackerel. This is fighting a little bit differently. It's got a little head shake to it. Oh, it's a wrasse. There we go. Something different. Oh, what beautiful wrasse that is. Lovely colours. Well, I was saying just before that there's always a chance of something else on a metal. Now, this fish is only tiny, but that's a wrasse. That's a ballan wrasse. Look at the colours on him. He's absolutely beautiful, and he's taken that metal. Oranges, it's like a goldfish that you would have in a tank at home. But he took me, and I just knew instantly the fight was totally different. The mackerel are like da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and he was more of a doof, doof, like a thud. And he's just taken my mackerel, and more than likely my metal was quite close to the bottom there. He's seen it, he came out of his little hole, or the area that he calls home, and he took that metal. Beautiful little fish, and it just goes to show you that you can catch other fish on metals other than mackerel. Good little bit of sport, good little bit of fun, and these things can grow 5-6 pounds. This is probably 1.5 pounds. And he's gone. Well, that is the end of the session. Got a nice decathlon bag full of mackerel. A nice, easy taking. Didn't get too many, didn't need too many. I think the bag limit in Jersey these days is 20. I got 4 or 5. Don't need any more than that. Little feed, some for the parents, and good fun fishing. I caught that wrasse on the metal, which gave me a little bit of a different sport, and obviously those mackerel on the metal. A nice change. Really good, fun, energetic fishing. Everybody can do it. Put a metal on, depending on the weight, the wind and the tide, flick it out, let it flutter and let it do its thing. And that's the joys about fishing. There's always something different to do. And literally I've been out for 45 minutes and I've got myself a feed. And at this time of the year when the water's warm, I think it's about 18 degrees here in Jersey at the moment, the mackerel flood in. They're after the bait fish. They push them into these kind of areas, these coves, and they just feed up, and it's a frenzy. But it's always good to find a place where there's a little bit of tide pushing through, because usually where there's tide, the mackerel get brought in